the act of Jesus dying in the cross symbolizes so much. Not only was the purpose of him dying on the cross was to take our sins with him so that we can have everlasting life with our Father, but it also proved that, the enemy has nothing. Like, he has no power. Like, Jesus literally defeated death. He defeated death. He defeated the enemy. When he died and resurrected, he defeated the enemy. So the enemy has no power. The enemy likes to think and likes to trick that he has power, but all the enemy is noise. So I don't know if any of you guys who are watching this ever worked in retail, but you get the customers. So you get the customers that generally have an issue, generally have a problem, and they talk to you like, like a norm. Like, we have a normal conversation. We apologize, and then you get the customers that rant and rave, and and as you're trying to explain stuff to them, they get louder and louder, and they get louder and louder, as if the louder they speak, the more right they are, which I don't know how that works, but that's literally what the enemy is. The enemy has no power. So he tricks us by making as much noise as possible to try and make himself feel that he has power by making all this noise. But in actual fact, he actually has no power. And then because don't forget as well, when Jesus came and before Jesus went back to his Father, he gave his authority to us. So we have the authority against the enemy, and the enemy, likes, as I said, likes to trick us and think that he has power by making all this noise. But at the end of the day, he has no power. So the difference between the enemy's voice and God's voice just speaks volumes. Like, the enemy has to speak louder to make himself sound really big, where where God, he just has to whisper, and that's it, because his voice compared to the enemy's voice just shows how the enemy, he has to make this noise. He has to make this noise to get your attention, to try and trick you into thinking he has the power, where God's voice, he's just quiet. He's just quiet, and he's the right way. He just needs to make the smallest noise, the smallest noise, and that is it. But don't be fooled by the enemy, because the enemy will do everything and anything in his power to try and prove to you that he has all the power. And I want to finish on this verse. This verse is in Deuteronomy chapter 33, verse 27, and it says, "The eternal God is your refuge, and underneath are the everlasting arms. He will thrust out the enemy from before you and will say, destroy."